channel. My name is Kiana, and I created this YouTube channel to help encourage and empower moms to prioritize their wellness while also taking care of their little ones. I have a 2-year-old daughter and a almost 2-week-old son. I'm coming on here today to give you my top 10 tips for successful breastfeeding. So I had to get Aiden. This is real life mom in it at its finest. Had to nurse him, and then he wanted to be in the carrier. Threw up on the wrap here. But anyway, back to what we were talking about the benefits of not the benefits of breastfeeding, like the my tips for successful breastfeeding. The first one is to know your why. And so basically, you want to know why you want to breastfeed because it can be difficult for some people to achieve. And so you have to reflect back, or at least for me, I had to reflect back to think, like, why is this so important for me? Breastfeeding can prevent several different diseases, such as like SIDS, which is sudden infant death syndrome. It can prevent obesity in children, eczema, skin issues, digestive disorders. Several other different things. Kids who are breastfed tend to get sick less. They're getting antibodies from their mom, and then I know when my daughter was sick, she did end up getting COVID, and she didn't want to eat, she didn't want to drink. The only thing she wanted to do was nurse. She was about a year old, and a lot of babies tend to have complications from like cold and flu and things like that from dehydration. They just don't feel like eating, but nursing is a comforting thing for them. So she was getting fluids and nutrients through her breast milk. um, Other benefits for me were it's free. Didn't have to worry about buying formula. It's convenient. Don't have to worry about packing bottles. We can just go, like, and I didn't really care. I nursed anywhere, everywhere, whenever she wanted to, for however long she wanted to, and it was just easy, um, at least with her. Um, my second tip is to establish breastfeeding early. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I read that a lot of babies who don't get to nurse within the hour, that they get really sleepy. Like they have the period after they're born where they're awake and they're alert, and that's the best time to nurse. And then afterwards, they get really sleepy, and babies can sometimes have trouble latching if you don't get them on the breast early. Tip number 3 is skin to skin. That helps bonding with the baby. That helps your oxytocin release, which helps your milk supply. It helps calm baby. It can regulate their heart rate and their temperature. And skin to skin just helps them to be able to have a better nursing and breastfeeding experience. I did a lot of skin to skin with my daughter. I'm trying to do more with him. Sometimes it can be a little bit inconvenient. Like sometimes I don't want to undress him just to dress him, like especially if it's cold. It's like I want to take him out for it's like he's nice and snug and warm in here, but if I have to take him out, then he's going to be cold and I have to redress him. I just Sometimes I don't want to do that, but skin to skin is really important, so I try to make an effort to get us both kind of naked so we can have some skin to skin time. It also can be a little bit inconvenient when you don't have a bra. Like for me, some people don't, their breasts don't leak when they're nursing, but mine did. So if I like to try to do skin to skin without the bra, the nursing bra, but then I'm like spilling milk everywhere. So sometimes I just leave the bra on. It gets like partial skin to skin, but that's also important for establishing a good breastfeeding relationship. Tip number 4 is hydration. It's very important that you drink a lot of water. Like milk is primarily water and fluid, so you want to make sure that you're keeping up with your hydration for you and for your milk supply and for baby. It's just really important. Also, eating a healthy, nutritious diet to be able to help. You're literally making food for another human. You should be eating. Tip number 6 was no pacifiers. And again, I know that may not work for everyone because a pacifier can help babies when they do want to just comfort suck, but also that sucking can stimulate more milk to be made. And so for me, I just pretty much just let her nurse, even if it was just for comfort. She didn't really care for pacifier. We tried to give her one in the beginning, and she didn't. She loved it for the first day, but then the second day she was over it, and we didn't really try again. And I think that benefited my milk supply. Tip number 7 is to exclusively breastfeed. So don't offer any supplementation unless it's medically necessary. And that's because your milk supply is like a supply and demand. The more they suckle at your breast, the more your milk your breasts are going to make. And if you're giving them an alternative source of food, your body's going to be like, oh, well, they don't need this. I'm not going to make any more. And then people tend to suffer from decreased supply from supplementation, like unless it's medically necessary. Also cereals, we didn't really do that. Some people add like the oatmeal or rice cereal to baby bottles. We just gave her breast milk, and then we just introduced solid foods when she was 6 months old. Again, I think that helped with the milk supply. Tip number 8 is to pump on baby's schedule. So whenever if you're working, just make sure that you're trying to pump as often as they're eating. So if they're at home with another caregiver or family member and they're eating or taking a bottle every 3 hours or so, you should be pumping every 3 hours. If they take a bottle every 2 hours or every 4 hours, you should be pumping at least that much to keep up. Like I said, it's a supply and demand. So you want to keep up with the baby's demand. The baby is also better at extracting milk from your breast than a pump. So I would highly recommend nursing like whenever you can. If you don't have to pump, don't pump. If you can nurse them, just nurse them directly. And then if you want a little bit extra, pump after the baby has already had their feed. Tip number 9, things that I did to help increase my supply. So when I'm an ER nurse, and there was a point where I would get really busy at work and I didn't have time to pump, and my milk supply started to dip, and I was like, ugh, I can't do this. So I had to let my job know, like, my baby comes first, her food supply comes first. So I don't care how busy it is, I'm going to go pump. But during that time where my milk supply started to dip, I did brewer's yeast, which I read could help increase your milk supply. So I made like brewer's yeast cookies and just put it in different baked goods, and I believe that did help my supply. I started pumping more. I did that, make sure I was drinking more water, fenugreek tea, and that really increased my supply. And my last tip, which I am learning from this little guy here, is if you're still having trouble breastfeeding, or if you're having any pain, you should really um, talk to someone about that, whether it be your child's doctor, their pediatrician, a lactation consultant. Talk to someone about your concerns and the issues that you're having. When I was breastfeeding my daughter, it didn't hurt initially, and then it hurt for a little bit. I don't remember how long it lasted for, maybe like a week or so. And then this spit up stain is really bothering me. And then it hurt for a little bit, and then it stopped, and we were fine, and she was able to latch however she wanted to. But this one is going on 2 weeks, and he's giving me a lot of trouble. I've been having like sore, cracked nipples. Like, it hurts when I nurse him. Sometimes they're better than others. Sometimes it doesn't hurt at all. Sometimes it's like unbearable pain. He does better on the left side than the right side. So I don't know what's going on with him. We have a appointment to meet with the lactation consultant. It's not until next week, so like 5 days away. I don't know how we're going to survive, but we're trying. I've been giving him bottles of pump milk, which I think is causing nipple confusion. He seemed a little altered this morning, trying to nurse. Like, he's spitting it out like, what is this? And so I talked to the consultant over the phone. She was like, yeah, don't give him any more bottles. Basically, she told me to thug it out until next week. I'm like, that's 5 days, and it hurts really bad sometimes. So, but we're trying. Breastfeeding is important to me. I am considering exclusively pumping simply because it hurts so bad. But I really enjoyed the bonding that breastfeeding came with in terms of with my nursing my daughter. So I would really like to have that with him. So I'm trying to hang in there, but it hurts so bad. So we'll see. I'll keep you guys updated on if we make it to this lactation consulting appointment or not. But that is pretty much it for my top 10 successful tips. I was successful with my daughter for 16 months, but this little guy, we're struggling. So we'll see how it goes. But please like, comment, and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. You can say bye.